who I am. My name is Gavin Kelsey. I am a 30-year real estate sales and rentals veteran, but my focus has been on agent coaching and business development. And my motivation throughout my career has been the aha moments that a person gets when they see a piece of advice or learn a new system or a new process and it actually works. They go out and apply it and they suddenly realize that there are some good models to be using in business. So that's what I want to share with you guys tonight, is something I hope in this entire presentation resonates with you that you can use in developing your own LifeWave business. So my wife and LifeWave partner is Tanya Kelsey. She's a dynamic brand partner for LifeWave, of course. She's a director status, and together we are Team Kelsey. And so that's where we come to you from. So let's dive right into this thing. First of all, regarding building connections. And one of the things we spoke about is, who are we building connections with? And I think that it goes without saying that it's anyone and everyone. But I think the place to start first are the people near and dear to us. And many people try to expand too fast, too far away from themselves to people who they think may or may not want to be part of this group and understanding what the LifeWave products are all about. But the closer to home you search, the greater the possibility of affecting their lives in a very positive way. And that's one of the things that we need to remember, is never discount the people that are closest to you. So we're always looking at the group closest to us and expanding out from there. That's on the one side. I'm going to get more into that as we go through the presentation. What it is that we do, we're not inventors, we're not David Schmidt, we are not the researcher and founder of this business. We are brand partners. And that's the most key element for me, is that we're not here to convince people about the product, rather to place it in front of their faces, in front of them, to say, try it out and see what happens. And that's really, for me, the what around LifeWave, X39, X49, all the other products that are on the shelf. Presenting it is easy because all the work has been done. The websites are available. The toolbox that Chris and the team have put together for us is an amazing, amazing catalog of everything that we need to know. And that's really the powerhouse from where I've understood LifeWave from. In building connections, it's one of the most important things is to care for the person in front of you. And this goes without saying that unless that is the purpose behind what it is that you're doing, there is some other material reason for doing it. Caring for the person that's directly in front of them, in front of you, gives them the importance that you value what's happening to them. And through the products of LifeWave, we can improve their lives. And that's a cornerstone of what we're doing. So when you're looking at building connections, growing your database, growing your network of people, 3 things are key to ask yourself. Why now? Why me? And why this way? So the why now is simple. These products have been available in South Africa. They are right now creating amazing results with practically every single person that takes the time to embrace the correct use and the correct method of using the products. So the why now is we've come through 2020. We've come through a period of high stress. Many of us are still in a period of high stress with regards to life and livingness. And we all need the power, stress relief, energy, vitality that the products of LifeWave can deliver. So the why now is really simple. It's time for us to take our youth back, or to take our lives back and our livingness. Why me is each individual person's reasons for doing this, whether it's to help others, to benefit from helping others, to create a business that empowers others to support themselves, their families, and their loved ones. Whatever the motivation is, that's your reason for being part of this group. And the why this way is because in the networking space and the way that the product has been laid out and the methodologies that Chris and Lucinda have put together, along with George and all the other leaders of our group, Team 333, why this way is because it's worked for others. There is no sense in reinventing the wheel. Okay. So that's on building connections. As far as networking goes, I touched on the subject of it being a contact sport. It really is. One has to, on an hourly, minute-by-minute basis, be making contact with people. And that's the only way that we get this moving. Because remember that when, if you're in this call right now, you may have been in for a little while, a long time. It doesn't really matter. Whatever phase you are in, you know what you're doing, but others are unaware of it until you break the silence with them to explain to them what it is that you do. And it sounds like such a simple thing, but actually you win this business on a 1-by-1 ratio, because the 1-by-1 becomes 2-by-4, becomes 4-by-8, etc., etc. It exponentially grows that way. But you have to start with the person that's right in front of you. So one of the first things you've got to do is find a way to reach people. And there are simple things. You have your phone, you have emails, you have WhatsApp messages, you have direct face-to-face conversations, phone calls. You decide which is the process that works best for you. And that system or line of communication that you use is the line on which you conduct your business. Some of us prefer to WhatsApp, others prefer to email. Whatever it is that works for you, that's the one you need to fully understand. There is no such thing as technology that is too advanced, because we can use advanced technology in a simple way. And if you don't understand some of the nuances of it, it's easy to find out. Google is your friend. Okay. In making connections, in building connections, in expanding your reach, what this entire presentation is about, the essence of it is to discover from the people that you're contacting the emotional button or response. George spoke about the echo, the reason behind it all. What's going on in that person's life that they want to change? And our research and discovery around that is just to discover that. The essence of it is not to try and shove LifeWave or the patches or the process and the testimonials down their throats, but first to consider what it is that they want to address. Once you understand that, it's simple to direct them instantly and specifically to the solution for that situation. Otherwise, we get into the business of selling rather than the business of telling. And that way, you immediately address the need that answers the question that the person has. I don't know if you've ever experienced a situation where you've asked someone a question and they've gone about answering it in a very long, roundabout way. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to get a little bit antsy or agitated about, could you please get to the point? And that's what this whole idea about. Discover the button, find out what the solution is, and present that, and off they go. All right, whether it's business building, whether they have a livingness situation that they want to improve, an ailment, a pain, or whatever the case may be. All right, once you've discovered the button or the echo or the need, you just present the solution. What it is about the solution is remembering that we are not medical practitioners, unless you are one, which is a different situation. But we are the brand partners showcasing the products along with the testimonials of others where it has worked. And it's for that person to make up their own mind by result and using the products in the correct manner, whether or not they work for them. Okay. Care is the X factor. No matter your motivation, it's the care for the person in front of you that produces the result for them. All right. So the secret is, I mentioned it previously, tell, don't sell. There's nothing to reinvent. It has all been done for us. And you know, you're probably saying, well, yes, we've heard this time and time again. But one of the things that I sometimes fall into is a bright idea on what I think would rather work. And I try to fashion it into my own way. It has been done. If we just follow the model will work and the results will come. Okay. The websites, the links, the groups, the testimonials, the toolbox, all of those things are available. And we should just use those. The secret is in getting the message across to the person that you're talking to in a way that they understand it. And I'm going to touch on emotions and the vibration. Chris often talks about the vibration, and Lucinda, and about the vibration of people. And it's a very interesting topic to look into. From being a brand partner in LifeWave, one of the key things is self-empowerment through self-study. So the toolbox is there. We should really know this toolbox back to front, paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence, so that we can empower ourselves to empower others to do the same thing. There's often groups where questions are asked where the answer to that has already been addressed in a specific reference, perhaps that Chris has written about, or that is already contained in a group. And I think that's one of the lessons that I learned early on is don't jump in too soon without a better understanding of what it is that we're doing. So the self-empowerment through self-study, I think, is absolutely key. The secret is we have to own the responsibility to educate ourselves, because that way we can duplicate others to be able to do it, because then we and them fully understand how the business works. That really is the cornerstone of networking success. Self-empowerment through self-study. All right, what are some of the attributes of a person who is a networker, a brand partner of LifeWave? One of them is one has to be meaningful in what you're doing. So what is the essence behind, the drive behind what you're doing? Meaningful and intentional come together. If your intention is to help others and improve their lives, and as a byproduct of that, it builds a business, that's fantastic. If the intention is to build a business that is a byproduct of helping others, that's also fine. Whatever the meaning behind what you're doing is, make sure that it's intentional, that you are doing it in a professional manner as much as you can. It's purposeful. You have a focused outcome that you would like to impart to others around you. Next, passionate about it. And I think that in all the rooms that I've ever stood in and all the groups that I've been associated with in this LifeWave group and this Team 333, there is one common denominator amongst all of us: the passion surrounding the product and the effect that it has on others. Resolute in the face of failure, in disappointment, people don't respond, you get turned down. All of those things are par for the course. It's next and move on. And this is something where being resolute in the way that we go about this, almost in unwavering discipline to continue despite all. And I think if we have that sort of approach to it, we will all win the day. We will all win. Plus, where you are self-empowered through self-study, you can operate with absolute certainty around what it is that you're doing. And that's the surefire way to success. You cannot be knocked over, objected to, argued with about anything regarding the products that David Schmidt has created and that are in our hands right now. The successes, the testimonials, the testimonies of people are undisputable. And that is the amazing thing about what it is that we're doing. But you have to be searching yourself. And that way is through understanding everything yourself. So momentum is part of networking. How does one gain momentum? Chris spoke about that Shongololo effect, where it sort of stretched out for a while and he continued and the business was sort of growing a little bit by little bit, and then suddenly it took off. How does that momentum happen? Because that's one of these secrets that persistency pays off. And one of the things I'd like to share with you is this statement of orderly progress will get you there. It's different speeds for different folks, right? Some people get to whatever their measure of success is much faster than others. The most important thing is to stay in your lane and do orderly progress the way you are doing it. Your results will come. The moment you start to look around at the other, let's call it the other players in the game, you get distracted by what's going on with them. Learn from one another. Of course, there's camaraderie, and everyone feels the same, and we all want the same success for each one of us. But if you are doing this business with orderly progress, step by step, day by day, success will come. We just have to stick to it. One of the other secrets is to complete everything you start. If you start a list of people that you want to call, finish the list only when every single one of those people has been contacted. It makes no sense to write a list of 20 people, to make 20 calls, get through to 10 people, and then abandon the list because the other 10 were not available. We have to make sure that we are completing everything that you start. Otherwise, those incomplete things hang around us. And that is one of the secrets to clarity and being able to be present in the moment, which is something I'm going to share with you in a second. Incomplete actions, incomplete tasks, those things that we have started and not finished are the things that cause fatigue and really are the things that hold you back. For example, you may start a conversation with a person. For some reason, you get cut off. You try to phone them back. If they're not available, you receive a call. You get engaged with someone. Some time goes by, and you forget to get back to that person. That other person is still waiting for you to complete the cycle with them. So it is our responsibility to make sure that we've gotten to every single person that we've decided to communicate with, and we fully understand what their needs are, even if their need is not for me right now, Gavin, or whatever the case may be. All right? If not for me right now, I'm going to put a moment in the future or a plan into the future, and I have an agreement with them that would it be okay if I called you in a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever the time period is. That way, I complete that cycle, that activity, that task with a future reminder. And when that comes up, I can get back to that person. This glass ceiling syndrome, where one can tend to get to a point where one's busy enough for one's own abilities, but it's not enough business that you're after. Or you're trying to get to everyone and you just can't make it happen. This glass ceiling syndrome, that Shongololo effect that Chris was talking about, can only get broken through with continued perseverance. Despite everything, whether it means more hours in a day, more efficiency around the business that you're doing, there are always ways to streamline what it is that we're doing. And I encourage you all to test from time to time something new that will expand the business. But perseverance breaks the glass ceiling, and that's where the success comes. Okay. The momentum comes from outperforming the previous effort. What I mean by that is, if yesterday I managed to contact 12 people, today I want to make sure I contact 12 plus, even if it's only one, it becomes 13. I'm trying to do more than I did the day before. I'm trying to reach more people with than I did the day before. I'm trying to put more productive hours into the time I have available more than I did the day before. And you'll find if you keep doing that, the orderly progress comes in. Progress means it's slowly getting bigger and better and faster. Momentum becomes unbreakable at the point where every day you're outperforming the previous day. So give that one a try. One of the points that you'll arrive at when you know you're about to bust open the glass ceiling, or the Shongololo's effect is about to rubber band itself, is when you start to receive referrals from the people that you've already been contacting. This is something that we've got to encourage. We've got to not insist, but be unwavering in our request with people that you're chatting to give you a referral. And often we shy away from those things because it seems like it's something a bit forward to do, but it really is the recipe for success. So referrals, look out for those. Expanding your reach. So we spoke about finding a way to reach people. The better and faster and meaner we get at tracking what it is that we're doing, the sooner you're going to expand your reach. Once you've connected with someone, it's to tell them who you are, find out what they need, deliver what they need, and maintain that link. This is where the relationship improves. It gets better. You hear about them and their successes on the product. It's all very well to have someone embark on the journey of using a LifeWave product, but if we don't track with them consistently to find out how they're doing with it, we're going to lose them along the way. That reverting to see how they're doing is of major importance. And then to test things to become more efficient at what it is that we're doing. And there are others doing this business in their own way that are different to the way that I would be doing it. It's different to the way Tanya would be doing it. And we have to align our systems that we use to suit our character. And we're going to look into the emotional tone of people to see how we best connect with them. All right. So once you've had your first connection, you continue to connect. You keep using that, going back to them over and over to enhance their experience of it. All right. How do you know how well you're doing? Many of us just do this business on the basis of, well, it feels good today, and I had a busy day, but how busy was it? So one of the things that I've done for myself over the years is record my actions and the results that came from it. Whether I do it on a piece of paper against 15 phone calls resulted in 5 appointments, resulted in the sale of some product, or whatever the way that you're going to track it. Tracking it removes any doubt or opinion about how well you're doing. There will always be a ratio of action to results. You've got to do something to get a result. And the problem with networking or our business is you could name 20 or 30 ways of talking to people or getting the message out there. But how do you track all the results if you're so busy doing many things? There is such a thing as the power of one, to take one method at a time and test it fully to see what the results are that come back from it. If you track it specifically, you remove all the guesswork as to whether it worked or not. But if you've got several things going on, how do you know which one is working and producing the results? So that it's all about the conversion ratio. Your reach, the distance that you can reach to people also determines the success level that you'll get back. And the more you reach, the more success you'll have. But the more effectively you reach, the greater the success will be. And that's something that we should track. So we're tracking, if you just want to look at one way of doing it, you're tracking the number of people that you contacted to the number of people that you closed into joining your team, signing them up on your left leg or your right leg. That's the essence of your building the business. And just a play on words here, be smart, use a graph. Graphs will always give you a trend, and they will always show you whether you are on an up cycle level and nothing is changing very much, or you're reducing in your effectiveness. And that's always a good sign. You can use it over a 3 to 6 week period to see how well or not so well your activities are working. In the end, it's duplicating yourself and having people sign up and building that business. That is what counts. All right. So the power of one, which I mentioned, one activity done with utmost focus and intent delivers results. So while one may be focused on one and have 2 or 3 others going along at the same time, the one needs to enjoy 80% of the effort to see what kind of return it'll bring. And monitoring it and tracking it with stats or record will help you determine whether they should be continued or left alone. Just because someone else is having success from, I give a silly example, hosting parties, doesn't mean that because you do it, you're going to get the same success. Each and every one of us are a different character, and we will have different ways of reaching the same level. If it's a great result or not so much, we also want to know what to change. So you can change, adapt, or improve that one thing to increase results if you know that you've been putting effort behind one thing. If you have a multitude of things, how do you know which one has worked or not? That's the message I wanted to leave with you. So if you're busy with many different actions, how do you track those? If you're deliberate and disciplined in the new activities you use, one never abandons the things that are working. You always continue and add more effort to those things, but it makes absolute sense to, whilst you're doing the things that are working, to test something else to see if it doesn't even do better. All right. So I called this a note to self. Some of the things to keep the momentum going, to continue to expand your reach, to realize that we're in this game to build connections. Remind yourself daily why you are doing this. Keep the fire and passion burning always. When it becomes a business, remind yourself of the reasons you're doing it. Look at the testimonials where you have personally affected someone's life, where they have seen improvement, relief, all of the things that we know the products are capable of doing. That's the reason we keep doing this. Okay. We are changing lives for the better. And I think that's the cornerstone of everything. It is really our duty to persevere and to continue, because we will win the day. And I'm going to share that with you later too. We will, as long as we persevere and we don't give up. All right. So what's the blueprint of this entire effort behind building connections and expanding your reach? If you make it very simple, and obviously we're going to make this recording available to everyone, but the simplicity of it, contact people, build agreement with them. Building agreement simply means, tell me what it is that's going on in your life. You know, Chris and George have spoken about, you know, ask somebody how their business is doing, because that's going to immediately open the door to agreement. My business is doing well. My business is not doing so well. Okay. Well, how are you doing? Well, I'm doing well, except I have a niggling knee injury from this, or given up running because whatever. It's going to lead to the conversations that are going to cause the need for change in people. And that's the moment where we step in. So we contact people, we build some agreement around what it is that's going on. We discover what they're interested in. As soon as we have that, we qualify whether or not they can do it or not. Are they open to it? If they are, we present the solution. If they have any objections, we handle those. And the easiest thing for me regarding objections is to show them testimonials. And that's the easiest way. You don't even have to do any convincing. It just proves it for themselves. Once you've handled the objections, you close them into whatever it is, buy a product, sign up as a brand partner, whatever the case may be, close them on it, and then deliver what it is. Get them enrolled and get them started. So if you just want to look at those few points, it's easy to see where your business may be slowing down or stuck, because it has to flow that way. You can't close someone unless you've handled all their objections. You can't present to someone. You'd be wasting your time if you presented to someone who's actually not interested, but just in the car game, used to call it a tire kicker. All right, so I hope that little blueprint helps. So they're getting through the facade. The facade is what I refer to the social veneer, the wanting to keep up with the Joneses, wanting to have a certain status or positioning. And really our business, and if you look at the core of groups that have been at conventions, at meetings, associated with all of us, none of us have any other axe to grind other than the absolute camaraderie and feeling of togetherness, team building that we experience through this LifeWave process. So some of the keys to breaking down the things that prevent people from engaging with us are to listen, to understand, not to answer people. It's the most disruptive and in some ways disrespectful thing we can do, is to listen with the idea of how we're going to answer the person rather than to listen to understand what they're saying, and vice versa. We have to grant one another the humility and importance to be able to say what it is exactly, and then to be able to address their need from there. And one of the things that we can do that costs no money is to be there in the moment. Whether you're online, face-to-face with someone, you know, even when you're answering an email, people understand when you've quickly fobbed them off or when you've actually been there in the moment to address everything that they need or what their concerns are. So being there in the moment goes a long way to make sure that your message gets across. And part of that is to pay attention. Nothing really else matters. I mean, if you think about it, attention and understanding today is one of the most overlooked currencies. A child who can get your attention for a few seconds to tell you something is the be-all and end-all of their world as far as contribution is concerned. And we should be doing the same for one another. Paying attention and understanding are the overlooked currency. Okay. In engaging with others, before you get started, one has to be clear about the outcome that you're expecting. We have people talk in business about vision boards and power of positive thinking and all of these things. Well, you can actually bring that down to an everyday, minute by minute, what's the outcome I want from this next conversation I'm going to have with a person? And if you have that envisioned clearly, it's often easier to get to the point quicker than I want to call them a waffle session or just a tea room conversation, right? Sometimes you've got to warm up to it, but you've got to have the clear outcome in your mind. All right, matching the vibrational tone of other people. Everybody can have a good day and everybody can have a bad day. We can never predict what the person on the end of a phone at the opposite side of a table is going to be doing or feeling at that particular moment. And one of the things that you could practice, and what kids actually find quite easy to do, is to match the vibration or the tone of the person that's around them. You'll find a youngster will walk out into the playroom and go and stand next to a tree where there's another kid standing, arms folded, legs folded, with this angry look on their face. You'll see the kid going to mirror the other kid before they start conversation. What they're doing is they're just matching one another's tone. And you find that they get into conversation even if the one didn't really want to talk to anybody. And this is something we lose as adults, is we don't pay attention to the vibration of the person we're talking to. And so you've got to really look at who it is that you're talking to and match their tone level. And if you can do that, you're going to get your message across. It's absolutely no sense, I'll give you an example, trying to talk in a very serious tone with someone who is completely and utterly laughing, giggling, and just showing absolute abandonment of life and pleasure and joy, because it won't land. You have to actually be mirroring their vibration. So practice that. In sales, it goes a long way to getting your message across when you match the tone. Okay. Something that is very important for me, and I thought I would share it with you, is, we all have rights. We have rights as human beings. And one of those things is you have the right to say what you have observed. And I think if you know and you can embrace that fact, then you know that you have the right to share the testimonies of what LifeWave has done for others, to anybody and everybody that you come across. You have the right. And I firmly believe that. And I also believe that it is our duty to do so. Okay? So you have the right to say what you have observed. And that takes real courage, because you can get into the face of some quite criticism and contradiction from others. But if you are resolute in the way that you go about doing it, state what you have observed and show what others have experienced, I think we're going to win many more people than we lose. Okay. You also have the right to say no. And that's something that a lot of us don't embrace enough. You have the right to say no, whether that's to say to someone, you're not ready for this, to say to someone, your attitude towards me, or whatever the case is, and is undesirable. I think that's something that we should all embrace. So we have the right to say no. You have the right to agree or disagree. And I think that way it empowers us to say, if you have the certainty around the self-empowerment you've enjoyed through the study of the product, the how-to-do manual, the toolbox that Chris has given us, all those other things, you have the right to agree or disagree on those. Then you also have the right to share this amazing technology with the world. It's up to us to do it, but I think that there is a lot of freedom in knowing that there's this technology that we can share with anyone and everyone, and I think that's the way we're going to change people's lives. And I think that for me is the most empowering thing, because it allows me to talk to anyone on the subject, and it doesn't really matter how it's received. Okay. This is no small game. And in the context of what we can achieve just in South Africa, globally, through Team 33, through what it is that we're doing, I think that the results are going to speak for themselves in years and years and years to come. And I think that we all have a responsibility to do that. there may be larger factors at play that few of us can fathom. And I think where I've personally seen amazing, I want to almost call them miracles, but I want to use that word advisedly, where we've seen amazing results. I think that the far-reaching effects of what a small group of us right now are doing, that's going to become a much bigger group in South Africa in any event, it has far-reaching consequences for our continued enjoyment of life and livingness as we go along. And we are certainly paving the way for others behind us to have better results, enjoy life more to the fullest. I hope you can agree with that. And as I mentioned earlier, I think it's our duty to seek a better future and greater joy in living for ourselves and the world. And I think that the leadership of our group, George, both Sandys, all of the guys that are part of this, Chris for certain with Lucinda, and everybody else, there's too many names, and everyone in this call. I just want to say to you that I am honored to have spent a few minutes with you. I am so passionate about this business we're in, the business of caring for people and helping them have a better future. And that for me is what drives us to keep going with this business. So I wanted to end it at that point and say it's short and sweet. I think that there is a lot that we can do. If you've found some value in this, I hope it's been a worthwhile join. I'm super happy that you joined us. I'm blessed that you've been part of this, and perhaps we can do more by getting involved in some of the smaller parts of this subject of building connections and expanding your reach. I hope it's been of some use. I appreciate your time. I want to thank Chris again for allowing me to do this in his absence, and I really sincerely hope you've enjoyed it. I wish you a fantastic evening, a better week, a month ahead, and we'll see you definitely at the end of your convention. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to wrap up now and see you all again. Thanks a million. Thank you for all your comments, guys. It's much appreciated. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Take care and goodbye for now.